Hey, we're vlogging this thing. We're gonna talk about social anxiety and 3 ways to build your confidence so that you can be better equipped to endure and overcome your social anxiety. Hang around. Hey everybody from Lean In Warrior Tribe and newcomers who may have dropped in just out of nowhere or by searching on Google or YouTube. You guys said that you would like to see a little more vlog style and just kind of change it up a little bit, so I took your advice and I'm trying a couple of different things here. So today we are talking about social anxiety, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about social anxiety, my own experience with social anxiety, and probably ramble for a bit. And then I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can work through your social anxiety so that you can feel more confident in showing up and leaning in, whether you're flushing or not, whether you're blushing or not. That's what I've got for you today, so stick around. Figure we'll get a morning workout in and see where this takes us. If you ever hear me talk about my office, this is my office. You may have seen some pictures. Oh, look at her. Man, she's a beast. I want to be like her. Just a little tour here. Oh, then I got my cool little, oh, hold on. There it is. Did it even do anything? Can you see it? Yeah, it lights up in here. And I just have like my writing desk here. My daughter made this. How cute is this? Adventure is out there. My book. Shameless plug here. I do a lot of writing here, a lot of coordinating what I got going on in my life from a creative standpoint. Now, in most of my videos, you'll see me in another room with the, I don't even know what it's like, landscape behind me or something. That's just upstairs in the bonus room. That's where I actually work to make money and make a living. Work. But down here is my creative space. This is, when you hear me reference my office, this is that space. Here's the thing about anxiety. When anxiety hits your body, it's going to come in 3 different ways. It's going to come from a behavioral place, a physiological place, and a cognitive place. So the cognitive is, what that means is that just means your thinking patterns and how you're thinking about things. The physiological piece is when you have sweaty palms. For us on this channel, that's our flushed skin, heart racing, the palpitations, feeling the sickness in your stomach. If you're a person who gets that like in the pit of your stomach, that's part of the physiological pieces of anxiety. And the other side of that is behavioral. So those are the things that we do that could be considered nervous tics. You can't see it on camera, but I'm shaking my leg up and down, or picking at my fingernails or my cuticles, biting my fingernails, doing things like that. These are the behavioral things. I notice a lot of times for me, I'm very aware of what I do as nervousness. When I am flushing, if I'm in a lower type shirt, collared shirt here, I do a lot of this to block what's being seen there. If I know it's coming up my face, I'll do this. I'll do different things that I feel like block that. And it's coming out of a behavioral pattern due to anxieties. The biggest one for me, I would think, is this. Something that blocks this part of my area of my body, specifically in regards to flushing. So remember, 3 pieces to anxiety: physiological, behavioral, and cognitive. That's always going to be in play whenever you're experiencing social anxiety or anxiety of any sort. So whenever we're addressing anxiety, social anxiety in particular for this video, you want to make sure that we're checking out those 3 elements: physical, behavioral, and cognitive. Today I'm going to share with you 3 pieces of advice for anxiety and in particular social anxiety whenever you're having the reaction throughout your body from the physical, cognitive, and behavioral side. So number 1, let's talk about exposure therapy. We talk about that a lot here. Exposure therapy is where you allow yourself to show up to the thing that scares you the most. So let's say that you're going to a party and there's a big crowd there, and you really don't want to go, but there's some great opportunities that could be there for you if you do show up. So you have to show up. So let's show up to the thing that we're most afraid of, knowing that you're going to feel those feelings. Now, you don't have to do this on a big scale where you just automatically show up to this thing that terrifies you, but maybe it's joining some friends for a picnic, or for some people, the grocery store is actually a place that can trigger a lot of anxiety. It really does for me. There's I don't know why, but sometimes just being in the grocery store at the checkout line is where I have often felt anxiety, because there's a social aspect to that. So I would rather use a U-scan any day, but if that's not available, or if I'm trying to show up and expose myself and make myself fight through something that's a little uncomfortable for me, then I will make myself go through the checkout line to show up and see people and talk to people, that cashier one-on-one, and let myself breathe through where I want to tense up and just show up with exposure. Another thing I do is I will go take a walk at the park, and when I'm passing somebody, I make sure I don't have my sunglasses on, and I look at them in their eye and I say hello, and I smile and force them to look back at me and say hello back. That one is huge. You can do that one anytime, just you by yourself, walking through the park, and as you're passing strangers, look at them in their eye and say hello, and then let yourself feel the feelings, and then coach yourself as you're walking away. You're okay. Look at you. You did that. All right, there's another person. Let's do it again. Something about that just builds confidence, and knowing that you keep showing up to the thing that really makes you afraid. And it also brings us to our next point, which is to restructure dysfunctional thought. Same thing goes with that. As you do that exposure therapy, as you walk away, there are going to be these thoughts that you had prior to looking at the person in the eye, which is like normally a bunch of fear of, oh my gosh, I don't want to do it. They're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to judge me, blah, blah, blah. And as you get past them, those dysfunctional thoughts start to unravel. So you can do that as you're showing up in your life, exposure therapy, and then restructuring what you were thinking about, or restructuring. So cognitive behavioral therapy has a lot to do with saying, why do I think this way? Or why did I think that? And is this true? So as you're walking by that person who smiled at you back and said hello back, you will start to see that in this example, your thought process was not fully telling you the truth. That you may have just made that person's day in a way that you'll never understand, because you actually took the time to look them in their eye and say hello to them and acknowledge their presence in just a matter of seconds. So that's a part of restructuring the cognitive thinking. What am I thinking? What's making me so anxious? And is it true? Could I change that thought out with another thought going forward? That speaks to your cognitive side, which also will play into your physiological side. So as you approach that person at the park and you were preparing to say hello to them, did you hold your breath? Did you tense up? Did you start to pick at your fingernails a little bit as you're walking up and become nervous? I want to encourage you, as you feel that happening, first of all, you have to become aware of it. If you're not aware of it, then you're never going to know you're doing any of that to begin with. But becoming aware, taking a breath, laying your shoulders back, pressing your chest out, put your hands onto your side. Or one that I do a lot is I will hold my hands like this. Now, if I'm walking, this is going to look kind of crazy. But like if I'm sitting, I try not to fidget. I try to do this, like just hold my hands. They say this is like a protection and comfort thing. I don't give a crap. If that keeps you sitting still and not picking at your fingers or wiggling around, then do that. But if you're walking in the park, you've got something in your hand, maybe like a bottled water, and your phone in your other hand, just cling to them. Just kind of put pressure on them to give you that sense of stability and that you're safe. But don't fidget around and don't let your arms tense up. They probably will do that, but just be aware of it and start to bring that back down with a breath and relaxing your muscles. You have full control over that. So that will speak to the physiological side of it. Well, that will actually speak to the physiological side and the behavioral side. So you just kind of get to knock those two out in one right there. And the third tip that I have for you, which really just goes back to the first tip, is show up. I wish I had some get rich quick advice for you. Obviously, we're not getting rich here, but stop flushing advice for you. I wish I had that for you. But really, anyone can try to sell you anything to make you feel better and make you feel ready to go show up to the world, but you have to show up. You have to lean in. You have to keep showing up over and over again and talking through how you're feeling. Whether you go talk to a therapist or a coach or a best friend where you feel safer than you've ever felt before, or here on this channel. That's why I created this channel, so that we could come together and talk here. Hey, here's the challenge that I did today. Here's how I felt about it. It broke me down. I never want to get up and do it again. And let us be there for you and champion you as you continue to show up. We have to keep showing up. You have to keep showing up. And you have to keep talking through how you're feeling so that we can overcome those blocks in our mind that are trying to keep us retracted and shameful about the flushing. Because think about social anxiety. Truly at the core of all of it is that I don't believe I belong here. I don't believe I'm enough. Now, if you were to ask me, April, do you think you belong here and you're enough? I'd be like, of course I do. I'm actually incredibly confident. And it feels kind of weird saying that because I'm like, are they gonna think I'm arrogant? I'm just really okay with who I am. And starting this channel has allowed me to have a space to bring that one area of my life where I did feel little and put it on display and work through my challenges with that. But feeling social anxiety does have a lot to do with our thought process. But like I've said before, it also has to do with our nervous system. So here's the thing that I say when I say, even if this never stops, I'm still gonna show up. And here's why I say that. Because I do believe my mind is okay. I do believe I am okay, but I did go through a period of my life where my body felt like it was being attacked through my nervous system, that there were threats all around me, and I think that came through people. So although my mind is okay and my body is okay, and I know I'm okay, I think on a physiological level through my nervous system, my system still perceives threats in the environments around me. And so my body is going to do what my body does. It's going to react in a physiological way. I wish it was that it was just tense shoulders and shallow breathing, because I'm aware of that. I can grab a hold of that. But when it comes to the nervous system, that's on a deeper level of our being. And so I think that continuing to show up is the only thing that's going to get to the nervous system to ever be able to tell it, it's okay. Hey, we're okay here. And I don't think that's going to come overnight. And if it does come overnight, I'm so thrilled for you. But we've got to keep showing up. Those are my tips for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed this style and this format. Let me know if you did, or tell me if you just like me sitting at the table talking to you, because I can do either or. This was fun, a lot more work, but I feel like you get to know me a little bit more, get to see a little more of my messy house that I'm not going to clean up for you because you're my friend. And if you were a really great friend that's just going to stop by, I'm not going to clean my house up for you because you're family. I'm not going to not make videos because I got to stop and clean my house up. We're just not going to do that here. It's not who I am. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this style video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, if it was helpful to you, and I'd love for you to leave a comment and subscribe if you're not a part of the tribe already. We would love to get to know you more. And when you subscribe, it just lets YouTube know that we're doing this here and that we're a family that is bringing awareness to chronic blushing and erythrophobia and other anxieties that hold people back. We are showing up. Continue to lean in, warrior, and I will see you in my next video. Well, I'll be. Look at there. Look, y'all. That's from being in that room. Wow. It's because I got hot under the light. No threat whatsoever. I started flushing while I was in there because I was hot. And when I get hot, my body perceives that as a threat. So there's that. See ya. The crazy thing about vlogging is that when you watch a vlog, everything's always like really clean and crisp and pristine. Pristine, is that the word? No, there's laundry there. Lots of laundry. It's clean laundry, but it's there. And honestly, I just don't have the time or the energy to hide it or clean off my husband's dresser. because this is real life. So giving you real life. So I'm just gonna put my makeup on. Actually, I cannot do that into there. I'm gonna do it here. We're talking about social anxiety today. Ow, crapola. There's a hole and the thing is plastic. I wasn't expecting that. Today, we're gonna talk about social anxiety because I fully believe that so many of us who are dealing with the skin flushing and erythrophobia and excessive blushing, we got some social anxiety going on. Social anxiety is produced by social situations, and if you're going to live any sort of life ever, you've got to go out in public and be around people. So what happens during social anxiety, and specifically for me, because I never knew that I was a person with social anxiety. I would never even claim that I had that because that just doesn't sound like me. And I don't like clinging to labels. You guys know me. I know I don't like clinging to labels and saying things like, I have social anxiety. Because I feel like once we do that, we are held to that. So what about when you don't have social anxiety? I don't like to say I have, but I may have experienced some social anxiety today or at that party or whatever. Social anxiety is triggered because we look at people as a threat. And that could be something that happened in your childhood that changed some wiring or created some wiring in your brain, that people are not safe and they're threatening. Your body is in fight or flight because of people. Like even nice people, good people, kind people. Kind of leaves us in this really crazy cycle of I want to trust people and I want to get close to people, but I don't. But people are very dangerous. I went through a lot of years of feeling like people were crazy and after me and wanting to sabotage things that, like, successes that I was having, and then I realized that that's not true. It goes back to cognitive behavioral therapy, which I talk about a lot with you guys about. We can change our thinking patterns. We can question why we think the way we think and why we believe the way we believe, and then we can change it. What a concept. So with people being a threat, we don't know that that's happening. Now, you may be in a place in your life where you absolutely know that's happening and you just don't trust people and you won't get close to people. And I would highly encourage you to just talk to somebody about that. Look into cognitive behavioral therapy about why you think that way and why you feel that way. And if you want to change, start moving away from that. You will move away from that, I promise, because I was that way at one point too, and now I'm not. But here's the thing. When your mind has stopped thinking a certain way, but your body is still interpreting threats through the nervous system, that, my friends, is where we endure a challenge. The way we have perceived something will create that reaction inside of the body. So I believe that you can get to the nervous system, but it's gonna come through your thinking. And it's gonna come through exposure. It's gonna come through talking about it, exposure therapy, and then talking through how you're feeling. You gotta be able to talk about it with somebody safe, and you gotta be able to practice going through those motions. Because here's the thing, when we're anxious about something, we try to avoid whatever it is that made us anxious because it's become catastrophic. And because it's catastrophic, we don't ever want to endure that ever again. And so we stay on this side when we need to go over there. And that's something that I've talked about before. The reason why I'm so keen to this lean in warrior is that it's not by holding back and it's not by avoidance. It's by leaning in and moving towards what makes us most afraid. So if you have had some experiences, specifically social anxiety experiences, then you're gonna want to shy away from that instead of run toward it. We gotta run towards it. We gotta get near it. And then we can reteach our nervous system that we are safe and we belong here. I know that some of you may know that I have shared with you a mantra of mine, whatever you wanna call it. You are safe here and you belong here and you're safe to heal here. To remind my body, it's okay. We're here together. I got you. We're all right. I live in the United States, right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Well, I live in Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. I live in a very rural area, not near the city. I'm about 30 minutes away from the city. Yesterday, I needed to go somewhere and drive into Nashville. Got tattoos with my family, hummingbirds. When my dad was passing away, he told us that he could see hummingbirds. Well, it was before, like a couple hours before he passed away, that he was seeing hummingbirds. So my mom, my two brothers, and myself went and got our hummingbird tattoos yesterday. So anyway, I had to go to Nashville to get the tattoo done, and I had to get on the freeway that is pretty massive in comparison to what's near where I live. And I was telling my husband that it's amazing how exposure therapy works, because what exposure therapy does is it throws you into what you're afraid of over and over and over again. Now, since I was young, have been so terrified of getting on this particular freeway. A few years ago, probably about 5, 6 years ago, I had a job and the job was near here, but we moved to Nashville for that job. So if I was gonna keep working there, I was gonna have to drive on that freeway, regardless of whether I was afraid or not. I was gonna have to figure it out. So I did, and for 2 years-ish, I drove on that freeway every day to get to work. Now I remember the first like month or so, it was awful. And I remember like being like right on the verge of, I'm gonna have a panic attack. A PhD psychologist that I worked really close with told me that it takes the human psyche about 2 weeks to really adjust. We're adaptable creatures. So he just told me to hold on. So anyway, about a month later, I would be driving into work in Nashville, in the city, get off the freeway, be all in the craziness of the city, stop and get coffee somewhere. I did that for about 2 years, and I started finding like different ways in, different ways out because of traffic and such. So anyway, yesterday I was headed to get my tattoo, and I had to get on that freeway, and I was telling my husband like, wow, like it's amazing how exposure therapy really does work, because now I can just get on that freeway and go and not even think anything about it. But for about 30 days, I was freaking out. Something I had been afraid of pretty much my whole life. I would not get on that freeway. I would go back ways if I needed to go into Nashville, or really I just tried to avoid Nashville altogether. But then once I was forced to be in the city for a couple of years, I had so much fun. Once I just got out of my own way and that catastrophic thinking went away, it was so amazing. And I explored all these new places, and I tried all these new food places, and my husband and I would get out and go to like this massive park that's out there. And on the weekends, we would get in the car and go drive out there. It just opened up this whole new arena of life for us by being able to get on that freeway. It's very similar for us in our lives. Like if excessive blushing has made you want to take the back roads in every area of your life, you can live that way, but you're gonna miss so much because you're not willing to get on the freeway. So you have to sit with the feelings in the moment, and the feelings are horrible. We're really running from the feeling. Think about judgment, and what is judgment? Judgment, it's feeling as though somebody thinks something about you that has some sort of, that somehow equates to your value. And I've been through the same things where we don't want to be judged and we want to belong somewhere. That's built into our psyche as young people, that we just want to belong somewhere. And school really messes you up because you want to be a part of the popular group and you don't want anyone to make fun of you, and you want to have a place to sit at the table. That was there's always noise. That was the air unit outside. You want a place to sit at the table. You want to know when you walk into a room and everybody's sitting together that somebody saved a spot for you. And really that's what this channel is. This channel is your spot at the table. It's a room full of people, and we saved you a seat right here because you belong here and we get it. Just like in groups in school, certain people, the sports people come together, the theater kids come together, academic students, they hang together a lot of times. You have different groups that come together. And it's not that we are a group that's isolated off from everybody else. But if you're anything like me, I've had a hard time finding my place. And think about social anxiety. When you go into a room and you're the only person that you know in there, and or you may know somebody through an acquaintance or something like that, but you don't actually know them, as opposed to walking into that room with a group of people who love you, you're safe with them. Same environment. Don't you feel different by who you're with? Same environment with different people. Alone, walking into it, or a group of people around you. That's kind of what we are here, is that we might not be able to go into the rooms together all the time, but we're here together. And you know that even if you walk into a room where they don't fully understand you, you have people in your circle that do understand you. That's a long, long way to get ready, be talking to you. So anyway, we're talking about social anxiety. I'm gonna give you a few tips on how to be a little more comfortable with social anxiety and how to get through it so that you can continue to tell your nervous system you are safe here, you belong here, and you are safe to heal here.